Hi, Randy.
Hi, Stacy. Oh my goodness. I love your background.
I'm coordinated with your blouse. And that blouse is how we ended up here today. This class came together when I decided that in my effort and desire to bring more women into the crypto space, I was going to turn an Alice and Olivia blouse into a free NFT that you received when you purchased Randy's rainbow blouse. And when we came up with the idea to do that, I asked Randy if she would agree to teach a class to women and the creatively community on the basics of NFTs and how we can engage more women in the NFT and crypto space. So I'm assuming most of the people here joining the class today know Randi. She is one of my favorite people. She is also a leading voice in the world of Web3 after being a leading voice in the world of Web2. She was the creator of Facebook Live, and now she is focused on the cutting edge of Web3. And what I love most is what a prominent voice she's been for women in crypto and NFTs. She recently launched something called Hug, a platform for elevating Web3 creative entrepreneurs, including Group Hug, which is a creator accelerator that is aimed at growing the next billion-dollar women-led crypto businesses. And in this class today, Randi will give us a primer on the world of NFTs, as well as offer guidance and resources and organizations that can help women advance and evolve in the world of Web3. So I am our moderator today, Stacy Bendett, founder of Alice and Olivia and founder of Creatively, and Randi is our NFT guru. So welcome, Randi.
Thank you so much. First of all, Stacy, I would hang out with you anywhere, anytime, in person, virtual, matching clothes. But I feel like everyone these days has that one friend that only talks about NFTs all the time, and I'm that friend. That's me. So now all of us can be that friend together, and I'm
But
thrilled
I
to be.
think what we agree on, whether it's for fashion and brands or for crypto and investing, like everyone today needs to learn about NFTs, to learn about crypto, to be educated in all ways on how it affects whatever they're doing, whether they're an artist and they want to mint NFTs, whether they're a designer and they want their brand to have NFTs, or whether they're just a woman out there who wants to understand investing in NFTs. So we're going to have a lot of questions for you today, but I really wanted to kick this off by first sharing what I think is one of the most creative endeavors you have had yet. And you started creating these parodies, these music videos, these parodies, which to me in this hilarious way bring together so much of your genius, because I don't know I don't know if everyone knows that Randi is also an incredibly successful Broadway producer. She's sang on Broadway, and she began making these parodies of some of my favorite retro songs that teach people about crypto and NFTs in a really lighthearted way. So we were actually going to take a pause for a minute and play one of Randi's videos, and then I think we can sort of move into our Q&A.
We're all gonna make it. Yeah, we're all gonna make it. We're all gonna make it, everyone. It's just the start, so GM, copy your crypto DM.
I think we're freezing a little bit, but
It's all right. Zoom video is always an adventure.
We are going to proudly post the entire video on Creatively later so everyone can watch it and learn a little bit about crypto just from your video, but also appreciate your creativity in these videos that you've been releasing. So in your version of "We're All Gonna Make It," it's a play on the acronym WAGME, correct? And tell us about those lyrics and about those songs.
Yeah. So first of all, the song holds really special significance for me. As you mentioned, Stacey, I was working in Silicon Valley for a decade on the front lines of Web 2 and social media. And then I felt the calling as an artist and a creator myself. And I kind of blew up my entire life in Silicon Valley to go sing on Broadway in the 80s rock musical, Rock of Ages. And I actually got to sing that song, "We're Not Gonna Take It," on stage as like my big first character entrance. So when I got into the crypto world, I have to admit, crypto is pretty intimidating at first. People use all these acronyms. It almost feels like you're entering a foreign world where people are speaking another language. And it's not very welcoming to beginners to walk into this new world and you don't understand what anyone's talking about. So I thought, is there a fun way that in 2 minutes I could share some of the acronyms that people will encounter when they first step into the crypto world? So that's kind of the what I was trying to unlock with that video.
Well, do you want to start today with telling everyone in our class what an NFT is?
Yes, absolutely. So an NFT is a non-fungible token. And I know that means nothing. That meant nothing to me when I first got into the world of NFTs also. In fact, I was sitting maybe where some of you are sitting today, feeling pretty skeptical about NFTs, thinking, is that real art? Like, who are all these people that are spending money on JPEGs? Like, has everyone lost their goddamn minds? Like, probably, maybe we have, who knows? But I think what's so exciting about NFTs is they're actually solving a lot of problems for creators. And I think we've all heard stats about how so much of the art that's out there is actually fake and fraudulent. It's really hard. Artists, so many of you as creators know you don't get credited for your work enough. You probably are underpaid for your work. There's tons of middlemen in any arts and creative field. So what I love about these non-fungible tokens is that these are pieces of art, or really anything that's stored on the blockchain. And we can get into that later. Don't worry if you have no idea what that is. But it means that each piece of work is completely unique. It's verifiable, so you know that what you're getting is real, and it allows creators to sell things directly to their audience and their community with no gatekeeping and no middlemen. So those are some of the initial reasons why I love NFTs for creators. And we could go, really deep into the technical stuff, but I think for today, I'd love to focus on just the pain points that NFTs solve for creators.
Yes, and I think there are these pain points that NFTs solve for creators and the creative community. And that's so much what About Creatively is about, right? Like, we're hosting this today on Creatively because Creatively is about making the work life better for creatives, financially, creatively, everything. So we love that. But I think there are also a lot of challenges for women who are trying to enter the NFT and crypto space. And maybe it's not just women, but I think, like, I've heard from so many women that they feel like the NFT space is just dominated by like white men. And how do we change that?
First of all, we have to change it. I refuse to watch another huge revolutionizing part of the internet pass us by as women. So I will not let that happen. And that's why we desperately need all of you to get into this world. But what I will say is that the traditional methods of financing aren't working for us either. We have nothing to lose. Like 2% of venture capital is going to women, and that's white women. That's like white Harvard Business School educated women. So if you don't fall into that category, you're not getting funded in the traditional world. And so crypto and NFTs open up such a wide world for women to quickly, easily raise money around ideas and things that they're passionate about, without any of those gatekeepers, which is why I'm so excited about this world.
I think that's amazing. And tell us a bit more about Hug and what you're doing with Hug, because that really goes back to women in crypto and getting more women into the NFT space.
Sure. And I also want to say that NFTs don't have to be just art. Most people talk about art when they talk about NFTs, but if you're sitting here and you're not an artist yourself, there are so many other things that NFTs can be. NFTs could be a membership pass to something. It could be a ticket to an event. You could partner with an artist and collaborate on something together. An NFT could truly be anything. So I don't want people here to feel like they're limited if they're
Right.
not an artist themselves. Oh, sorry, you go ahead. And then I
was going to say, I think, obviously in the creatively community, there are a lot of creators and artists and different creators, but I think there's also a lot of brands on our platform, right? And I think that if you work at a brand, if you own a brand, it's really important to start understanding the value that NFT provides for you in connecting with your consumer. You can have NFTs that give gifts, that have incentives. Tell us a little bit about that too.
Yes. So, and I think one thing that you're so spot on about there is this is the first new iteration of the web that I've seen where fashion and art are leading the new technology. Usually the tech leads, and then fashion and brands and art are the last to get invited to the party. But Web3 fashion is leading the charge into the metaverse. And I think that's what's so exciting about it. And what we're trying to do at Hug, one thing I've seen is that this is an entirely new skill set. Operating in Web3, the old rules of the game don't work. So if you, just because you had success in Web2 or you had former life doesn't mean it's automatic success in Web3. So I launched an accelerator that helps brands, that helps NFT collections, that helps artists actually navigate through launching a collection and then growing it into a real long-term business. And we call it Group Hug. Everything is
I love that name. And so when you think about the future of NFTs, and I guess crypto too, right? Like, tell us where you think this is going in terms of, well, let's start with the artist, right? You're an artist, you're a photographer, you're a graphic designer. How should you be viewing NFTs and how should you be thinking about it in the future? I mean, I remember like the early days of social media where people didn't embrace that, right? Like we're sort of entering that next phase of, like where this is all immersive and it's not just about the token, right? It's about this next generation of what this kind of virtual world is going to be like for creatives and creators.
For sure. I mean, it's really exciting. We're just at the very start, which is why if you go on Twitter, everyone's saying GM, good morning, no matter what time of the day or night it is, because it signals that we're all still so early. So everyone who's taking this course today, you are at the very beginning. You haven't missed anything. And I think though, as an artist who's thinking about this space, you almost have to think about it like writing a book. I have written a few books. It's a lot of work. But when I wrote my first book, I thought that the actual book writing was going to be the hard part. And boy, was I wrong. The writing of the book was the easiest part. It was what happened after I wrote the book that was the hard part. I had to build a community around my book. I had to get other people interested in my book. I had to get people to want me to come speak about it. It's the same thing with crypto and NFTs. Just because you launch a collection or you put art out there doesn't mean that people are just going to come buy it because it's digital and it's new. You have to put in a lot of work around building a community and marketing yourself. And so I think a lot of artists don't realize how important that is in the NFT space.
But do you feel in a way, even though it requires like the real art world, right? Like the real art world, I've always said this, I was like, the most successful artists are not necessarily the most talented artists. They're the ones who want to be the most famous artist, right? Like, to be one of the most iconic artists of all time, whether it's a designer or a painter or anything, it's like you have to want to be famous as much as you want to create art, right? And I think that in the NFT space too, there's, in some ways, I feel like it's democratizing art a bit, right? Like, and you have this ability to share and sell your work in an easier way than ever before. But at the same time, where do you see those challenges for young artists in our community and young creators?
It's a great question. And I think, first of all, to your point, it is really important to put yourself out there as the artist in this new world. People want to get to know you. They want to connect with people. And so, if you're a little shy, you're going to have to overcome that and put yourself out there. One of the interesting things, though, about Web3 is that it has become acceptable to be anonymous. I think in Web 2, there was this whole push towards real names, real identities. With Web 3, a lot of people just go by an avatar or a screen name, and you don't actually even know the gender of the artist or the person. And so if, as a woman in business, I feel I have always had to kind of overcome what I look like. That's always been at the center of everything in business. And suddenly, as a woman in Web3, you can take that off the table if you want, which is a really, I think, interesting evolution. The other trend that I think is really interesting is the fact that more and more of these digital JPEG art are coming with real life utility now. People
That's what I love. Yep.
Yes, like this blouse.
Yes. Well, and it's my vision for Alice and Olivia to have multiple clothing items that have corresponding NFTs, but to allow those NFTs to give back to good causes in perpetuity, right? So as we launch a blouse with a corresponding NFT, as hopefully people in the NFT and crypto world begin to like trade that NFT or share or sell that NFT, we are allowing for that NFT to give back to women's organizations in perpetuity. I haven't gotten that all figured out yet, but that is one of my personal goals, which you've been so helpful in brainstorming with me. Can we go back to the song for a second?
Sure, let's do it.
We kept freezing, so I'm not going to try and play it again. I'm going to have everyone listen to it afterwards. But the lyrics in the song are so cleverly created or parodied in a way to really teach the world about a lot of the acronyms that are quite complicated to those of us who are not in the NFT space. So I thought maybe we could go through some of those and it could help you teach our community a little bit more about it. So the origin and meaning of WAGMI.
Yes. So you'll often see in crypto, people are saying, we're all going to make it, or they'll use little parts of it, gonna make it. You might see GMI, WAI. And then if someone is like super not into crypto, you might see people write like not gonna make it and GMI. I like to stay positive. So I like WAGMI, we're all gonna make it. And again, it's just this rallying cry of reminding one another that we're all early, we're all figuring it out together. And just by being in at the start and kind of being curious and learning, like we're all going to make it. We're all going to figure it out and we're going to grow.
I love that. I love that positivity. I love that sort of, optimism about the future. So the entire song is packed with Web3 jargon that's helpful to understand and know. So we'll keep going for a second.
Great.
The lyrics, DYOR and pick a coin.
Yes. So DYOR stands for do your own research. And this, I think, is one of the most important things for new people coming to the space who might want to buy NFTs, because it's really hard to tell when you get into the space. You'll see everyone's talking about different collections. Just because someone's talking about a collection doesn't mean it's good. they might be talking about it because they have a financial kickback from that collection, or they already bought into it. So they want to get more people to buy into it to raise the price, or maybe it's an influencer who's getting paid. It could be really hard to tell the difference between genuine hype around a collection and all of that when you're new and a beginner. So everyone always says, like, do your own research, get to know a team, spend time on their social media, learn about a project. Don't just get FOMO and rush in to buy something.
Yeah, that is so smart. You gave me some great advice when I set up my Coinbase account for the first time and was trying to figure it out. And you said, only buy 10% at a time of what you want to own, and whether that's NFTs or coins. Tell us a little bit about that theory, just in terms of giving other, women and people on this in our class, like, in a little bit of an look into how your mind has thought about that.
Sure. Well, I believe in going slow in this space because it is changing so quickly. Crypto is so volatile, as we've seen even in just the last few months. Crypto has been up 30%. It's been down 30%. Sometimes in the same day, it'll go up and down 30%.
So wild.
It's very volatile. And so if you come into the space with and spend your entire budget at one time, you might have missed buying into a dip, or you might have missed a new coin that comes out down the road. Now, a lot of people, when they first start out with NFTs, they buy on the Ethereum blockchain. And again, maybe that's a little too technical for us today, but there are a lot of other blockchains that have NFTs too. Some are more eco-friendly than Ethereum. There's Solana, there's Cardano. And if you come in on day one and you just spend all your money on Ethereum, and then you have no room to change and grow and learn and add to your portfolio over time. So I always recommend that newcomers, if you have a number in your head, how much you want to spend on crypto or NFTs, come in slow, buy about 10% of that number, and then think, okay, every week or every month, I'm going to add to my collection a bit.
Now, I think a lot of the people in this community of Creatively are creators and artists. And, I think the women who hopefully bought my blouse, maybe they want to invest, maybe they, want to just start like collecting. But for the creators on this call who want to make their first NFT, that can be really complicated, right? Like, it's not just like, hey, push a button. I hope, I'm just going to put this out there now, that in the not so far future, that on Creatively, you will be able to push a button and mint your own NFTs. And I think that's a goal. But right now it's complicated. So what advice would you give, and what resources would you suggest to artists and creatives who are listening right now and want some first steps in making their own NFTs?
Sure. Well, the good news is that the actual making and minting of the NFTs is not actually that complicated. In fact, any of us could probably leave this course and 1 hour from now mint an NFT. The hard part, though, is the building of the community. And I feel like I can't stress that enough, that NFTs are really like more about the community even than about the art. Right. And that's not, I will only buy an NFT if I love the art. So the art, I don't want to downplay that. It matters a lot, but it's the building of the community that's really going to make or break your success in the NFT world. And
so it's almost like you want to have these communities that mean something. And almost like a gallery where, everything in there is going to be like something you love. But yeah. I feel like for the NFTs, you want to start, like, you want these communities that are not just about monetizing the art, but about giving something back to the world.
Absolutely. And that's why I would always recommend for any creatives on here who are curious about NFTs, you are so much better off spending the next 2 to 3 months building your brand in Web3 and becoming known in the space and building connections and then launching your NFT collection than you are just leaving this course and launching some NFTs next week. And yeah, I know we all want immediate gratification and doing things, but like community is the success metric.
Can you share a couple of, whether it's artists or communities, that you think have done a really good job so that some of our students today can, go and look and see, kind of like examples of creators doing a great job in the NFT space?
Absolutely. So one of my favorite communities is called Meta Angels. It's beautiful artwork by a mother in Australia. She has 4 children. She went from selling pottery in local farmers markets in the middle of Australia to now a multi-million-dollar NFT artist, but gorgeous. I mean, the art is absolutely stunning, but they took about 2 to 3 months to really thoughtfully build out a community on Twitter, in Discord. The artist and the founders were doing voice chats and clubhouse rooms and Twitter spaces almost daily for 2 to 3 months to get the community to know them.
Meta Angels?
Meta Angels.
And one single artist?
One single artist,
wow.
A 10,000 piece collection. And they sold out their entire mint in 2 days. They didn't even have a public sale. Their private community bought up every single piece from the collection. And so that's what I mean when I say like it's worth the effort to build up that community, because I've also seen the flip side. I've seen gorgeous art where they rushed it out and didn't take time to build a community, and still haven't sold out a collection that launched weeks ago.
Amazing. I think that's really, really helpful. And are there companies or agencies that like help to build communities?
There are, but I think no one builds a community like you, like the founder, like the artist. It's not something that you could offload to other people, because when people are buying their NFT, like, first of all, they're supporting you, and they want to know that they are going to have access to you, that they're going to be able to talk to you, that you're going to occasionally be in the community. And so, that's why it's a different beast than Web 2, because not only are you creating your art and running your business, but you're also sort of a full-time community manager to your own community also. And that's what makes it so exciting and unique.
It's true. I think with things like Instagram, even though you're sharing your world, I always thought of Instagram as like my, a window inside like the real world of my work. I personally use Instagram for more like Alice and Olivia than I would for personal. And, it's like you're sharing your world, you're selling things from your world, but it's a little bit like television. It's one-sided, right? Like maybe you're answering comments or DMs, but I feel like as we enter this Web3 world, it's way more community-based and way more, I don't know, just based around the sort of 4-dimensional, 5-dimensional, version of what art gives back.
Totally.
And okay, so let's go back one more time because I feel like I'm skipping over. Are there any other, you've put out a few of these songs. They all have a lot of sort of little crypto messages and lessons. Are there any other lyrics that you think like that you want to share with our group right now? I know you had something with like carp your crypto DM, FOMO, I
talk about buy the dip is one, which is, it's basically like when crypto falls in the market, you could either panic or you could think about it like, oh, like Ethereum went on sale today, I'm going to pick some up. That's what people call buying the dip. So you wait for crypto to drop and then you buy instead of buying at the peak. So there's all of these little pieces of jargon that are really not too hard to learn. It seems intimidating, but spend a week on Twitter and you'll figure it out. I saw someone was asking a few questions in the chat about how they could apply for the Hug Accelerator. And we just closed our second cohort, and we'll be reopening applications in a few weeks for the third cohort. So if you're trying to click on the site and it's not working, we'll be reopening applications for that soon.
Can you share with us any of the investments or support Hug has given to some female-founded, companies or collectives?
Absolutely. And we've had now almost 20 projects that have come through our incubator in some way. Some of them are on a stage to raising real venture capital rounds. They've moved past the point of just being seen as a project or a collection in the NFT space. And they're thinking, okay, how do we actually take this IP and do something really meaningful with it in the long run? So companies that are at that stage, we work with them to build a real business model and help them raise venture financing and things like that. At the very early, all the way at the other end of the spectrum, we work with artists who never want to launch 10,000 pieces of art. They're called one of one artists. And these are more like traditional artists who want to put out NFTs, but maybe 8 of them or 10 of them. They don't want a 10,000 collection. They want to really pour their love and heart into a few unique pieces. And so, and those artists are a really important part of the ecosystem also for NFTs. So we're working with the, 10,000 generative businesses, and we're working with the one of one artists because the NFT space wouldn't work without every kind of creator.
Hey guys, sorry to interrupt. I wanted to chime in because we had some amazing audience questions. The first one I have for you guys is, for women NFT creators, what advice do you have to gain traction and to promote our work?
All right. Well, I think the one thing that I've seen that's so exciting, and Stacey, I definitely want you to jump in on this one too. When I got into the space, probably about 9 months ago now, there was no women in the space whatsoever. I would say that January, February of this year brought a lot more women into the space, which is exciting. We still have a long way to go. Women are only about 10 to 15% of NFT buyers right now. But when you come onto Twitter now, you will find a community of like-minded women. Some of my favorite communities that people can join right away to really support women and meet up with other women are Women Rise, which is an amazing community. And I can put some of these in the chat too. Boss Beauties is an awesome collection that has really become very popular. And World of Women is probably the most popular women-led collection right now, and that's out in the zeitgeist. So those are just 3, but there are hundreds. And
by the way, as I'm looking down, I'm taking notes on you, Randi.
I love it.
I'm taking notes. I love it.
Yes, someone wrote Nyla Hayes long necky ladies. That I have one of those. I love that collection so much, and I believe she was like a teenager, and it's really amazing. One of the projects going through our incubator is led by a 14-year-old girl. So I think that's the other thing that's awesome about the NFT world, is that you don't have to have decades of business experience. It's really open to
extreme connections, right?
Yeah.
It's really, in a lot of ways, we are democratizing the art world. And I'm really excited about in the Creatively community too, because we want to start to allow for this very simple minting process so that Creatively can promote the NFTs of our community and help bring awareness to, the sort of hundreds of thousands of creatives that share their work on our platform. So I think that's all super exciting, but it's interesting to see what you're sort of investing in and getting behind, and which collectives and communities have done the best job in that community brand building, because that is a really, really important part of this. But I encourage all of the women and Creatively community that's watching today to know that you can do that too. Like, you can create your own community. You don't have to be a billionaire to do it. You don't have to have millions of followers to do it. You can really still build this from the ground up. And that should be encouraging and exciting for all of you.
Absolutely. And in fact, there are some NFT minting marketplaces out there where if you want to mint NFTs, some of them you have to pay what's called a gas fee. And again, that's getting more on the technical side of things, but it's basically like you have to tip the miners on the blockchain to prioritize your transaction.
That's hilarious.
Anyone else's. So it does cost a little bit of money to mint your artwork, but there are now some marketplaces that let you mint for free, and the buyer ends up paying those transaction fees. So it's getting easier and more accessible for anyone to put collections out.
Kind of a related question we actually got from our audience as well, is if there's any advice on what to be cautious of when entering the NFT space. I know there's a lot of different pieces of information floating out there of how to go about it best. But yes, any advice you have on what to be cautious of when entering?
Yes. Well, I would say so. I mean, I love NFTs and crypto, but it is a sketchy neighborhood. Like, think of the sketchiest neighborhood you've ever found yourself in at 2:00 in the morning in your life. And it is sketchier than that. I mean, you have to like really watch your back. There's scammers. I think, there's a lot of wonderful things about decentralization and having no middlemen in the arts, but that also means there's no one to call when things go wrong. So you have to watch your own back. And I always, tell my friends who are getting into the space, like, put a tiny bit of crypto in your wallet. And if you still have that crypto in there a few weeks later, then congrats, you're ready to graduate and put more in or buy NFTs. And so there are a lot of best practices to keep yourself safe. And I would say a great beginner community and resources is a community called Curious Addies. It is on Discord, and it is a community that is just for beginners to the space. They'll actually let you open a virtual wallet with fake crypto in it and walk you through the process of opening a wallet and minting an NFT without having real crypto that you can lose. And they'll walk you through how to do everything really safely in the space. So I highly recommend for newcomers.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Randi. A fun question for you guys is, so how do these people do the whole 10,000 profile picture project thing?
You mean like 10,000 pieces of art?
Yeah, Stacy, do you want to talk about that at all, or do you want me to jump into it?
I'll let you go for that one.
Sure. So these 10,000 piece collections are called generative collections, and it's a mixture of an artist hand drawing elements and then AI. So it's pretty cool when these come together. So going back to that Meta Angels collection that I was talking about, there are all different sorts of wings in the collection. Some are stained glass, some are glitter, some are balloons, all kinds of wings. Every single one of those wings was hand drawn by this artist.
Drew 10,000 different pieces.
She drew about 300 different elements. And then the AI combined them into 10,000 different ways, such that each piece is unique. And she could actually tell the AI, I only want the balloons to show up 10 times. I want that to be a rare one, or I only want the glitter to show up once. And so you can tell the AI which ones are rare. And then
when you say the AI, what do you mean? Like, who's doing that? Is this a miner? Is this a
developer?
A developer. Okay.
A developer an engineer who is skilled in building smart contracts. And again, sorry, I don't want to get so technical today, but it's really cool, I think, when you have a combination of real life art and technology that's allowing artists to actually hand draw things, but be able to sell thousands of pieces when you could probably only ever create a few dozen that way, doing it by hand.
That's really interesting. Okay, do we have any more questions?
Oh, we have time for one more
One
question.
more.
Yes. Okay,
Okay.
this is a fun one. What are each of your favorite NFTs? If you guys have any that come to mind.
I'm a big Flower Girl fan. I love the Flower Girls. I also love everything that Boss Beauties are doing, just as a brand, as a company, and as a mission. Randy might have some other ideas on all of that, but those are my favorite.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I have so many. It's hard to choose between my babies, but I will shout out one in particular that I think is interesting because it has a utility to it. And that's where I think the NFT space is heading. So I own a special World of Women NFT that basically puts me as one of their artist curators. There's 20 of these special ones in their 10,000 collection. And so the 20 of us are in a private chat where we actually get to curate artists that come and work with World of Women. And it's essentially almost like being on the board of that collection. And so it really makes me think that, like, in the future, how charities run boards will be completely different, how companies operate will be different, because I now own this NFT. And then when I'm done with that utility, I can then sell it to someone else when I rotate off that
I'm
board.
having some FOMO right now. I want to be on. I want to be a special wow.
I'm going to help you get one of those. You would be an amazing curator, but
I'd be
so there's so many. There's a collection called Mavion World where every NFT you actually get in real life the jewelry that it shows in your NFT,
great.
which is super cool. So, I mean, really, whatever you love, whatever your passion is, however eccentric, there is a community in Web3 that fits your needs and fits your goals. And that's what I love about it so much.
That's amazing. Randy, thank you so much for today. I feel like I've learned so much. I hope everyone else today has also learned a tremendous amount. And we just encourage, I think Randy and I both encourage both of you to just keep learning, keep watching, keep playing, and keep creating. And I think that's it.
Yeah. Thanks, everyone. Thank you so much, Stacey and Randy, for joining us on behalf of Creatively. And we can't wait to see what everyone creates. Thank you guys so much.
Bye.
Thank you.